Hey there, friends. Got a kind of a quick video for you today. For those of you that have been asking, yes, I am feeling very much under the weather. And I'm hopeful that that changes in the next couple of days because I have a small trip that I have to get on. More on that in a minute. But yes, I have pressure behind my eyes, stuff settling in my chest, and I think it's just all allergies and crazy changes in the weather. I mean, we've gone from temperatures in the 30s to now temperatures in the 70s. It's just insane. But nevertheless, I'm hoping that this is probably the worst point, and tomorrow I expect to be feeling a little bit better. That's just typically how stuff runs with me. I usually suffer for it for a day or two and then get better. So that's why you're not seeing a better produced video today. However, I am still covering the same topic that I wanted to cover. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the more recent reports about the January 6th involvement by the FBI. You know how the FBI has constantly denied that they had any involvement in January 6th? In other words, they claim that, well, let me take this back. They never really denied it. They just said they couldn't answer if they had people there in Washington, D.C. for January 6th. Now, we know what their reason for having them there was, right? We understand that. Now we kind of have proof. Now they're saying that it wasn't actual agents who were there, but it was people working in conjunction, informants, so to speak, that kind of people. People who are getting a paycheck from the FBI. Excuse me, they're simply not getting a W-2 from the FBI. They're getting 1099. In other words, contract workers, not on the actual payroll. Here is some information from Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie is one of the few congressmen that I feel like has done a remarkable job in making sure that the pressure stays on the FBI and everyone else. You know, Christopher Wray bailed for a reason, and you'll see him in this video as well. He bailed because he knows that he's going to be in trouble. He's going to be lawyering up and doing some other things, so he feels like he can't be touched. But make no mistake, these people were expecting everything to just go away if Trump won. I pray he doesn't do that. It's time to play by the same set of rules that these people keep playing by. We keep forgiving their sins and acting like, oh, we don't, excuse me, that we don't want to play by your rules is foolish, silly, and it just means the same stuff will continue to happen. You start making them scared to be put on trial and thrown in jail, then they're going to change their actions at least a little bit or find different methods in order to do it. Check this video series out from Thomas Massie. What a remarkable job this man is doing right now. One of the few guys I have a lot of confidence in Congress right now.
I was hoping today to give you an opportunity to put to rest the concerns that people have that there were federal agents or assets of the federal government present on January 5th and January 6th. Can you tell us, without talking about particular incidents or particular videos, how many agents or assets of the federal government were present on January 6th, whether they agitated to go into the Capitol, and if any of them did?
So I'm not going to violate this norm of the rule of law. I'm not going to comment on an investigation that's ongoing.
Now, in that video, that was your answer to a question to me 2 years ago. When I said how many agents or assets of the government were present on January 5th and January 6th and agitating in the crowd to go into the Capitol, and how many went into the Capitol. Can you answer that now?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Oh, last time, you don't know how many there were, or there were none?
I don't know the answer to either of those questions. If there were any, I don't know how many. I don't know whether there are any.
I think you may have just perjured yourself that you don't know that there were any. You want to say that again, that you don't know that there were any?
I have no personal knowledge of this matter. I think what I said the last time.
You've had 2 years to find out. You know, were there any confidential human sources involved from the FBI or any other agency in the erection of that prop, those gallows?
I'm not aware of anything like that.
Inspector General Horowitz, over the past 3 years, I've questioned FBI Director Wray and Attorney General Merrick Garland about the federal assets, such as confidential human sources that were present on January 6th at the Capitol, and they have continuously stonewalled me. We've got no answers whatsoever about this from them. Do you have evidence of the number of confidential human sources that were operating on the Capitol grounds on January 6th?
Our report will include the information in that regard.
Can you tell us today how many there were? Were there more than 100?
I'm not in a position to say that, both because it's in draft form and we have not gone through the classification review, and so I need to be careful.
And we're 4 years, almost 4 years into this report. When is it going to be released?
It's certainly my hope and expectation, although I don't control this entirely because it has to go through a classification review, but certainly in the next couple of months is my hope.
Do you think, is there any consideration for the election about the release of this report? Would you delay it in order to not release it right before the election?
At this point, given the process that has to play out in terms of classification review and all of that, I don't have to make any judgment about that. We're still, that still has to go on. Just to give you a sense of it, when I did the Pfizer review,
you're saying it's not even going to be done in time before the election?
I doubt it would be done in time for the election.
What we do know is you're going to expose that there were confidential human sources at the Capitol. Can you tell us today how many went into the Capitol?
I'll have that information in the report. I'm not able to speak to information in there, both because it's in draft and we get a response from the department and the FBI,
Okay.
but also because I don't know yet what's classified and not classified.
So if they broke the law, if they went into the Capitol, which we pretty much know there were confidential human sources who went into the Capitol and right there alongside of everybody else, wouldn't they need to follow DOJ CHS protocols? And do you know if those were followed?
They should follow CHS protocols, and again, we'll include that information in the report.
Do you know how many were reimbursed for travel?
As I sit here, I don't recall the number.
You
But I
don't
wouldn't
recall, or you won't tell us?
Well, and if I did know it, I wouldn't be in a position to tell you because we still have to go through.
We're 4 years
actual
into this.
accuracy
You're supposed to be the organization that goes and gets these answers when the FBI and the DOJ stonewall Congress. But I feel like, we're 4 years into this. We're not even going to get this information you're telling us now before the election.
So interesting. You saw Merrick Garland. Look, between Merrick Garland, Christopher Wray, and certainly Mayorkas, what did our founders do to people who were traitors back in the day? It escapes me. I can't seem to remember right off the top of my head what happened to them. But whatever our founders would have done back in the day needs to happen to Wray, Mayorkas, and the AG. These things have got to happen. Merrick Garland can't walk away from the things he's done. I think he and Mayorkas are the worst, but they can't walk away from this unscathed. Something has to happen. And look, if you dig in this January 6th thing, there's a lot of stuff that has come out on it. I'm actually doing a much deeper dive into it next week, hopefully towards the end of the week, where we're going to talk more about the government's involvement in payrolling members of the January 6th riot, the insurrection. So we'll be talking a little bit more about that next week. I do want to do a real quick hat tip to CMMG. We have a small project coming up next week with them. These guys put their money where their mouths are, guys. I'm so proud to have been affiliated with CMMG. This is going on my third year now. And man, look, I could not be prouder to help represent a brand that is so committed to the same things we are. First of all, they're committed to putting out the best types of rifles out there, whether it be some caliber that you're not used to, or putting out something that's in a different configuration like the Descent and some of those other models that they have. But no matter what, their ultimate goal is always to put out the best quality product out there, and they do it. But not only that, they walk the same walk that we do. They feel the same way about the Second Amendment that we do. That's how I've met these folks. I mean, Mike over there at CMMG, he and I have known each other for a while, and it's because we have similar interests in advocacy for the Second Amendment. These folks completely walk the walk and talk the talk. So very proud of them. If you wouldn't mind, go over there, check their stuff out. just in time for Christmas. You can still get your hands on some cool stuff from CMMG right now. Use my discount code FTATF. Again, FTATF, and you're going to get some immediate savings, big dollar savings, by the way, 10% savings. So FTATF, use that. Guys, as far as the January 6th stuff, I'm going to have some pretty cool videos coming out next week. Hopefully one is really in depth on the January 6th stuff. Have a little bit more research because some additional stuff came out today. So it made me change the overall approach of this video, other than the fact that I don't feel good, right? But hopefully that will take place next week. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to have a pretty solid video, not on January 6th, but on some other stuff as well. So stay tuned for tomorrow as well. Guys, have a great weekend. Weather's crazy. I mean, look at it now. Gray skies now. Weather's crazy. Be safe out there. Be safe out there. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. The whole drone thing, the whole CEO thing. I feel like there are some purposeful distractions being thrown at us right now. I expect the holidays to be cover for something wild and crazy that might take place, because there's just way too much distraction type activity going on right now.
I don't understand the point that you're making.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.